Let's talk about the midterms with the Republican who is running for the United States Senate in the state of Maryland. James Tarantin joins us now. James, really appreciate you being
David,
here on the show. Hello.
how are you? Thank you for having me.
I'm doing well, thank you. Look, Maryland, it's a liberal state. I'm fully aware that the midterms could be really bad for the Democrats, but for a conservative to win a Senate seat in that solid blue state, that'd be a miracle. So kind of what's the strategy? How are you going to try and pull this off, James?
So, first of all, I think that what's happening here, people across Maryland and across the United States, they see what's happening with the inflation, the border crisis, the pain of the debacle of Afghanistan, the $27 trillion debt, the division, the lies. And I think that they just want to be able to vote for people who are honest, genuine, can be inspiring, and can really offer practical solutions. And I think the people in Maryland are really fair in regards to that. That's why we see even Governor Hogan, who won here twice, and also Bob Ehrlich before him. And I think that when you study the map of Maryland, you see that it stages more purple than just being liberal as some other people think. And I think that our message is more universal, more inspiring. And I think that we have a very comprehensive campaign with really amazing practical solutions for our country.
Right.
And I think people would relate, and I think that my story would resonate with them, and they will give me a chance. And many times in the American culture, the underdog often wins over the career politician who's been there for a long time.
Yeah, and don't worry, we're going to get to your story because it's a very unique and different story for sure. Now, it seems like, yeah, I'll get to it in a moment. It does seem like every day America, though, continues to turn more and more into like a cesspool of immorality. So what's your plan to speak out and act on defense of these Judeo-Christian values in today's society?
So look, I really do believe that the greatest danger we face, David, are these career politicians with corrupt intentions. 80% of all the problems we face in the world come because of them. Some lady told me in the past that something really described in my heart, that it is really a genocide of dream. Most people do not really accomplish what they want, and I think the primary reason is because of these career politicians. So I think we need to elect citizen politicians who have warm-hearted, and I think that it comes down to character that is fundamentally based on, Judeo-Christian values. That is why I try daily, and I do my best. I never actually fell into these traps, but to gambling and drinking and smoking and drugs and driving fast. And I spend time with my family, and I read the Bible daily, and I try to money to charities with my compassion and grace in check. So as somebody who is a two-age Republican, that is what we need to do, is to bring a new generation of people that their character, they bring a new example that I think current politicians, both Republicans and Democrats, today just less and less show to their vote.
Well, that's interesting you brought that up, because I did want to talk to you about term limits. I mean, you have pledged to support term limits in Congress, and there's interesting polling out on this. A recent poll shows an overwhelming 80% of voters approve of a constitutional amendment that would indeed place term limits on members of Congress. So how can you make this a reality? What needs to happen? It seems like the American public is behind this.
Look, first of all, I think it's crazy, meaning this country was based on the idea that citizen representatives come and they leave. Meaning when you have a career politician who stays there since 1991 or 1980 or whatever, and they masquerade the reasons for them to be elected as the people vote for me, instead of them saying, you know what, it's enough, I'm in power too much, because power does absolutely corrupt. It's another form of a mini level of a mirage of democracy.
Yeah.
And not a real democracy. And that's why people really believe that Congress is a private country club and not a real hope and a beacon for people. So that is why I signed that pledge, because I will make sure that I fight for it, use the platform I have for it, inspire many people from different backgrounds to try to join that cause. Because I think that could be a silver bullet in reducing all the corrupt intentions and the lies that we see today in government.
Yeah, I want to give you a couple of minutes here to tell us about your fascinating life story. I mean, you were not born in America; you're now a citizen. Explain your journey here. I know you could do a 20 minute or 40-minute documentary on this, but tell us your story here in a couple minutes.
No problem. So I came to the USA as a teenager. I was born to wonderful people. They both live in Israel. I came here because I really wanted to make my voice come alive and to live the American dream. So I came here. I had at the time no money. I had no connections. I had no friends. I had no college education. I had no partners. English wasn't my first language. So it was really tough. And for the first 10 years of my life, I pretty much lived in poverty. I had no health insurance for a decade. I had to go to chefs for them to give me food at midnight that already had some bites on it. But I had no choice. I was hungry. And I drove a very poor car and so forth. And even during that time, I wanted to give back to society. So that's why I wrote a book called The Equation, in order to give people data and inspiration how to achieve big things in life. And then when I was 28, I had an idea to open an import company. I swear to you, David, I couldn't get any bank loan. I couldn't any bank or credit lines or partners or employees. I had to work in the library to get free internet.
Right.
But again, following the Judeo-Christian values and even Republican values, and even some, American values, the idea of self-government and self-reliance, I work insanely hard. And today we serve 5,000 clients worldwide, and we have a major enterprise. And I live with my wife and my 2 boys here in Maryland, and we really do live the American dream. And I do think it's possible. And I want to give it back to the people in Maryland and across the United States. Mm-hmm. And because I think now they have less chances to make it alive, like I had a few years ago.
I have about a minute left for this question or an answer from you. But in your biography, I was struck by that line about how you encountered the famous painting of George Washington crossing the Delaware. And when you saw it, you saw purpose and a new hope.
You're right.
Explain that. We do a lot about the founding of this country. Explain why that painting resonated.
I to be honest, that's a subconscious, soul, spiritual moment that is beyond words that could be verbal or in writing.
Yeah.
It's just a moment that when I saw George Washington crossing the Delaware, it's that idea when you become your higher self, you summon these powers in you that you could go beyond your conscious, beyond your fears, and really even beyond space and time and achieve big things in life, not just for yourself, but for humanity at large. And I decided that, one thing will come to my life, and I will try to do the same. So George Washington was the father of our country. Very much like Simon Bolivar was the founding father of South America. And I think these type of people were a beacon of light for generations to come. So that's what inspired.
That's wonderful. James Tarantin, really appreciate you here on the show. Good luck to you in your Senate campaign.
Thank you
always
very much.
Good to have
Thank
George
you, David.
Washington as a role model. So thank you, sir.